Before we start, I suggest you to subscribe for more creepy content. It was a chilly evening and I was just chilling on my couch, wrapped in a blanket and scrolling through my phone. The rain's patter against the glass was soothing, but then I heard something strange, a faint whisper, like someone was mumbling just outside my door. I dismissed it at first, thinking it was just the wind playing tricks on me, but then the whisper came again, clearer this time. My heart raced as I realized that it wasn't the wind. It was a voice, soft and almost sing-song, but too low to understand the words. I got up, my phone in hand, and slowly approached the door. The rain was streaking down the glass, distorting my view of the outside. I squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of whoever was out there, but I saw nothing, just the darkness and the rain. Then the whisper came again, this time right beside me. My breath caught in my throat as I turned, expecting to see someone, but there was no one. I was alone, surrounded by silence and the dim glow of the TV. I felt a chill crawl up my spine, the feeling of being watched intensifying. I shook my head, telling myself I was just paranoid. Maybe I had left the TV on a low volume. I sat back down on the couch, trying to brush off the unease that settled over me like a heavy blanket. I focused on my phone, trying to distract myself, but then the whispers started again. I looked around, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers seemed to be coming from all directions, as if they were swirling around me. I stood up, trying to pinpoint the source, and that's when I heard it, a soft giggle, like a child's laughter mixed with something sinister. My blood turned to ice as the giggles continued, growing louder. Closer, I stumbled back, my heart racing as I backed away from the couch. The laughter surrounded me, echoing off the walls, and I had this feeling that it was mocking me, taunting me. I reached for my phone, fingers trembling, and dialed 911. As I spoke to the operator, the laughter started to fade, replaced by an eerie silence. I explained the situation, trying to keep my voice steady. After I hung up, I realized the whispers had stopped completely. The apartment was still, the rain outside the only sound. I glanced around, my nerves on edge, wondering if I had just imagined everything. Just as I started to doubt myself, the silence was shattered by a loud crash from the kitchen. I jumped, my heart pounding, and slowly made my way towards the kitchen. When I entered the kitchen, I froze. Every single cabinet door was wide open. My breath hitched in my throat as I tried to process what I was seeing. How could this happen? There was no logical explanation. That's when I heard it, a soft, distorted whisper. Right behind me, I spun around, my eyes wide, but there was no one there, just the open cabinets and the mess on the floor. I fled my apartment, heart racing, and spent the night at a friend's place. I didn't sleep a wink, haunted by the memory of those whispers and that eerie laughter. The next day, I returned home to find everything seemingly back to normal, but the feeling of being watched, of something lurking just beyond the edge of perception, lingers. I can't shake off the fear that the whispers might return, that whatever visited me that night might come back.
It was a regular evening, just me in my small apartment. The weather outside was gloomy and rainy. I was sitting on my couch, binge-watching some random show to pass the time. You know, the usual chill night, but then things got weird. I heard this faint tapping sound like someone was gently knocking on my front door. At first I ignored it, thinking it was just a tree branch or something. But the tapping got a bit more persistent, like someone really wanted my attention. I hit pause on my show and went to the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw nothing. Seriously, just the dimly lit hallway and nothing else. It was kind of strange, but I figured maybe it was just a neighbor or a friend playing a prank. I mean, what else could it be, right? So I opened the door just a crack and called out, "Hello?" No answer. The hallway was empty, no one in sight. Now I was feeling a bit uneasy, like maybe I was being watched. I closed the door and locked it, convincing myself that I was being paranoid. I went back to the couch, trying to shake off that weird feeling. But then, I heard it again, that tapping sound. This time it was coming from my bedroom window. My heart practically leaped out of my chest. I live on the second floor, so the idea of someone tapping on my window just didn't make sense. I slowly got up and tiptoed towards my bedroom, feeling a mixture of curiosity and fear. I then reached the window and pulled back the curtain just a little bit. And there, I saw it. A hand, pale and bony, tapping on the glass. I gasped and stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. My mind was racing. Who the heck was outside my window? Why were they doing this? My first thought was to call the police, but then I hesitated. What if it was just a prank? I mean, who would be crazy enough to mess with me like this? As I was debating what to do, the tapping stopped. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. I strained my ears, listening for any sign of movement outside. But there was nothing. No footsteps, no whispers, just the sound of my own breathing. I mustered some courage and approached the window again, peering out cautiously. And then I saw it. A figure standing just a few feet away from the window, shrouded in darkness. I couldn't make out any features, just this looming silhouette. Panic surged through me and I stumbled back, knocking over a chair in the process. That's when I realized it wasn't a prank. Whoever or whatever was out there was real, and they were trying to get to me. My mind raced, and I grabbed my phone, ready to dial 911. But as I looked back at the window, the figure was gone. Just like that, vanished into thin air. I was left standing there, my heart pounding, the feeling of dread hanging heavy in the air. I locked every door and window in my apartment, feeling exposed and vulnerable. I didn't sleep that night, every creak and sound making me jump. I don't know who or what that figure was. It's like something unseen had come knocking at my door, trying to reach out from the shadows. And even though everything seems back to normal now, I can't help but glance nervously at my windows, half expecting to see that figure again. I was home alone, just watching a movie in my living room, lost in my own little world. I was feeling pretty cozy until I noticed something weird out of the corner of my eye. My window, the big one that faces the backyard, caught my attention. At first I thought it was a trick of the fading light, but then I saw it again, a shadowy figure standing just beyond the glass. I blinked hard and focused on the window, my breath catching. There it was, a person, or at least what looked like a person, just standing there, staring at me. I froze. I tried to figure out it was a friend or a neighbor, but it was a stranger, someone I'd never seen before. My first instinct was to call the cops, but as I reached for my phone, I hesitated. What if I was overreacting? What if it was just someone lost or confused? I kept my eyes fixed on the figure outside. It didn't move, didn't do anything. It was like it was watching me, waiting for me to do something. The longer I stared, the more uncomfortable I felt. There was something off about this person, something that didn't sit right. With trembling fingers, I finally decided to call the non-emergency police line. I explained the situation with a normal voice, not wanting to draw attention. The dispatcher told me they'd send an officer over to check it out and that I should stay put. As I hung up, I dared another glance at the window. The figure was still there, like a statue. It was getting darker outside, and the shadows seemed to cling to them, making it hard to see any details. But there was one thing I could see clearly, the eyes. They were fixed on me, I was sure of it. I couldn't see their expression, but I could feel the weight of their gaze, this intense stare that sent shivers down my spine. Minutes felt like hours as I waited for the police to arrive. The figure outside remained unmoving, just standing there, staring. I was torn between wanting to lock all the doors and windows and wanting to keep an eye on them in case they did anything. Finally, I heard the distant sound of a police car approaching. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. When the officer stepped out of the car and approached my window, I saw their puzzled expression. They looked from me to the window, then back at me. I opened the window and tried to explain what was going on. But as soon as I pointed outside, the figure was gone, leaving me feeling like I was losing my mind. The officer took my statement looking concerned, but I could tell they were skeptical. They told me they'd do a patrol around the neighborhood and keep an eye out for anything suspicious. After they left, I locked all the doors and windows, double-checking them like a nervous wreck. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, of those eyes still on me, even though I couldn't see them anymore. I didn't sleep that night, every little sound outside making me jump. The next morning, I woke up exhausted but relieved to see the light of day. I hoped that whatever had been outside my window was just a weird one-time thing. I've told a few friends about it, but they brush it off, saying it was probably just a prank or my imagination. I then discovered that the mysterious figure was someone doing a stupid prank, as it happened to other people in my neighborhood. Anyway, stay safe out there, everyone. And if you ever feel like you're being watched, trust your instincts. It might just be more than your imagination playing tricks on you. You never know who might be lurking in the shadows.